On this episode of From the Porch, let's talk about all of the issues and problems plaguing the automotive machine shop, performance, engine builder world. So if you've been to a machine shop and tried to get any machine work done or get an engine built or any of that, you know that it's, up to 2, 3 months, 6 months, a year. Here at my shop, we're scheduling engine builds out to, I think we're into February now, and just general machine work, we are, depends on what it is, anywhere from 2 to 12 weeks. A couple of weeks for a set of heads, up to 12 weeks for a full engine, depending on if it's, a stocker or a full race deal. And, everybody's like, why? What is the problem? The customers are asking this, why is everybody covered up? And it's 50% everybody's covered up, and it's 50% there's just not enough of us. So shops are closing down. The shops has been around a long time. The owners are, they're up in years. They're retiring, health problems, whatever the issue is, and nobody is coming behind them. And why is that? This next generation is just not interested in this work. I can only assume, and just speaking from personal experience, here, we've had, tons of people, oh, I want a job, oh, I want to work in a machine shop. And especially the younger crowd, they come and they find out that, it's not like on TV 24/7. It's actual work, and some of it's greasy and nasty and hot. And most of them, they don't make it a day sometimes, 2 or 3 days at the most. And they're done, they're checked out. And, they want a job where they don't get dirty, I guess. And then you've got the other class that will stay, and they're happy to have a job. They just don't have the fortitude to do this kind of work. It takes to be proficient at this work. You got to be, sharp here and multitask. Be a self-motivated self-starter and organized. And it seems like that the people that will stay and work, and but they just, they good helpers, maybe like tear down, wash, but the machining aspect, machine setup, they're just not, it's just not them for the most part. So, and it doesn't seem like, in the beginning, some years back, I think the problem started as the pay was too low. So this industry sucks at pay. I seen an ad the other day. This is like recent, this month. I seen an ad for an auto type machine shop that was trying to get a CNC guy for $12 an hour. Like, who, anyway, so that's a problem. But now I've noticed that as this thing progresses on, there's some really high-end shops that are offering some really good money for the right candidate. So there's jobs out there, lots of them, but there's nobody to fill the spot because, I mean, I really don't 100% know, but I know this. If I wasn't so deep into what I'm doing, I'd pack my stuff up and I'd move for some of the money that some of these shops is offering, because it's really good money. And when you take the, the ownership aspect out of the equation, it lifts I don't care what nobody tells you, it lifts a burden, because owning and managing a business, and I mean, my shop is small, but we do a lot of work, and we ship a lot of packages every day. And so we stocking, we got inventory, we manufacturing products in-house, we manufacturing cams, we're doing machine work for us, the public, and shops slash engine builders. So, I mean, even though it's just me, my oldest son, and my wife, we put out a lot of work. So it's really hard to manage and schedule and, update customers, talk to customers. So the ownership scenario is serious. So whatever, my salary is X amount of dollars, it's way more at some of these places that are hunting really qualified help. So the jobs are there, and I know we do. Some people know, some people don't. We still do some, but we used to do a lot of industrial machining, industrial CNC machine work. We used to make a lot of parts for a lot of big companies, and I mean, not on a massive scale, obviously, on a smaller scale, but we've done projects for Michelin, and we've done some projects for Frigidaire, Electrolux. So in that industry, the pay scale up till recently was much higher. So a lot of people that were machinists, especially people, kind of my age. I mean, I'm 48, and 10, 15 years ago, in the automotive industry, the pay was just trash. So the automotive, I mean, the industrial machining industry was way ahead. So a lot of people left and went that direction. So I think a lot of the skilled people left just because there was no money, and you can't blame them. So that's one problem. And then this next generation coming up, like, I don't know what they do. I don't really have any real contact with them, but just visually what I see, I mean, I don't know. They squat their trucks and play on their phone. I don't, other than that, I don't know what they do, but they're not, as best I can see, they're not becoming machinists of any fashion. So that's a real problem. So as we continue on, this problem is just going to get worse and worse and worse. And how to fix it, I don't know. And I think what we're going to see is consolidation. We're going to see big shops get huge and little shops just kind of go away, probably in time. And I mean, there'll always be, a mom and pop shop somewhere, I'm sure. But that medium sized shop, I think you're going to eventually see it go away. That's just purely my opinion. And so so that's problem number one. Problem number two is the parts industry. So the parts industry has the exact same issue that the automotive machine shop has. So everybody I talk to, I mean, we're a distributor for, it's a laundry list. And so we talk to these, we making orders and stuff. Sometimes we have to talk to the tech guy or, whoever. And they all are telling me, they all got the same scenario. You know, we can't find any help. We're down 35% on staff. I had one outfit tell me that they had to shut their second shift completely down because they couldn't get enough. I mean, they had, the people were hired, they were employees, but they couldn't get enough people to show up at one time to safely run second shift. So they just had to shut it down because nobody come to work. And that's another kind of issue is that junk. You know, people won't come to work. When they do come to work, they won't work while they're there. And so you got all of that, plus the you know, and then some people still using the COVID crutch as an issue. And there was already problems, but the problems got much worse after COVID happened. And then since COVID, you know, it's been a super, I mean, some places have not recovered yet. I don't know if they will recover. You know, I don't know. So, you know, just for instance, we had a import, like it was a Nissan VG33 come in, and it needed boring and forged pistons. It was a boost deal. So I'm a distributor for Wiseco and Diamond and a few more. And so it was a custom deal. It was a big wrist pin, and there was some other stuff that was custom. So we just sent an order in to Wiseco to make a custom piston for it. So we get an email back, you know, price and a ETA. So we don't think anything about it. The block's sitting in the corner, and we just go on with 400 other projects, and it's just sitting in the corner, and we forget about it really. And the parts is ordered, and you know, generally when the parts come in, they're allotted to that job, and then we will proceed on with that project, you know. So it rocks on and on. We don't, and again, you know, that's not in the front of my mind because we got 400 other things going on. So the customer emails and says, hey, you know, what's going on with my motor? It's been 6 months. And so I go back and dig through some emails and look, and they give me a 12-week lead time. So we emailed a rep, hey, what's going on with this order? Oh, we don't have a forging for that piston. No ETA. And I'm like, wow, you would think that once you realize that you didn't have a forging for an order you sold 6 months ago, somebody would email somebody. But nope, not a word. So we find out that we don't have a forging, we don't have an ETA. So now we're kind of scrambling, you know, it's done been really long, the customer's upset. So we got to go to plan B. So I tell the customer, hey, I'll go to another piston company. We got other people we deal with, and we'll get a piston made somewhere. You know, if we got to make it out of a billet, we'll make a piston. So about a week later, maybe a week and a half later, I sort of dropped the ball again a little bit, and Wiseco emails me and says, hey, you know, the pistons will ship on this day. And it was like a week later. And I'm like, well, shoot, that's good. So sure enough, they shipped, pistons come in, look great. We bored, honed the block, and sent her on her way. But that job, so this is an example of that job sat in my floor for almost 9 months. It needed cleaning, decking, boring, and honing. That's all it needed. And the job was dropped off. It took, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get it in line to deck it. And then once we decked it, the customer had bought pistons, and they were the wrong piston. So then that's why we had to have pistons made. And then what should have been 12 weeks turned into 6 months. And then another couple of weeks for me to work it back into the system. And so that's a perfect example of some problems that are unforeseen and that happen more than you realize. and then we kind of come on over. Let's shift over to camshafts. So, we manufacture camshafts, and we get, Lord have mercy, we get, I don't even know how many calls, but there is so many camshafts that you can't get. I actually had a guy call and said he'd called all the big cam companies, and nobody had a step nose, 87 up factory roller block, small block Chevrolet core to grind him a hydraulic roller. And I'm like, man, I find that hard to believe. And he's like, do you have any? I said, yeah, man, we got about 50 on the shelf. And so he couldn't believe it, because he called everybody else and they told him it was, like national back order. And I'm like, well, I don't know, but we got some. So, that was good. But with that deal, the big cam company, I won't call no names, but the biggest one, they buy from for the most part, they buy from a certain Camcore company. And that company is having some real internal problems. So they can't get anything. So now they've come over to the Camcore people that we buy from. And so they've kind of overloaded them with massive orders. And so everybody is now buying from the same core people we buy from. And so they're just, we used to could order a batch of part number X and get them in 6-8 weeks, give or take. We had small block Ford billet roller cores on order. It was supposed to be like a 12-week deal. And I think it took almost 6 months to get that order of cores. And we just got Pontiacs in, and the Pontiacs have been on order, I was told 12 weeks, and that turned into about 24 weeks. So that's another issue. So that's why everybody, and I think another thing is because we pretty much only do per order cams. So we're not grinding 5 million cams and put them on the shelf. You call in with your application, we grind a cam for your application, put it in a box, ship it out the door. So, we're not stocking anything. And a lot of these other companies, they're trying, CNC is wonderful, but the problem with a CNC is, the setup and tear down is a nightmare. So if they're on whatever, small block Chevrolets, and you need a Cleveland Ford, they're not just fixing to tear down and run you one Cleveland Ford. So that's not profitable. So they're going to wait till they have, whatever, 510, and so that's another reason it takes forever. And it's just a snowball. Everything we do is a snowball. There was an instance for some time you couldn't get a King main bearing for LS. I don't know how long. It was forever. And so we was having to use other stuff, but all of these problems, I feel confident, stem from 0 qualified applicants. And I don't know, we got to get some smart people back into this industry, because if we don't, it's gonna die. And I've been doing this since I was 16 years old. And I love it. I love this crap. I eat, breathe, sleep. This is all I do. And go camping. I love camping, and I love hot rods, and that's it. That's all we do. And so, if we don't get some people in, and so if you're a shop owner, you need to take those young guys and get them in a headlock. That's what I do with my oldest boy. I get him in a headlock, and I go in there and rub his nose in the grease, and I'm like, this is it, boy. This is what we're going to do. And but he's come around, and he likes it now. I wasn't going to make him by no means. I'm just teasing. But we got to try to get them interested. And again, I don't have the formula for that. But if we don't get them interested in this stuff, it's going to be tough. So it's something to think about, and the whole us, the industry as a whole, you know, needs to figure out what to do to bring in the next generation, because I don't have the answer, but I know that's what we got to do, because I mean, I'm not old, I'm decrepit, but I'm not old, uh, to me anyway. But that's the issue. We are getting older every year, and we're not going to be able to do this stuff forever. And so we got to have the next crew coming behind us to make this system move on. And there's so much stuff that's a dying art. You know, we call it tribal knowledge. I mean, there's just so many things that I see on these machinist forums that new machinists are asking that, you know, they just don't know, because they didn't have that tribal knowledge passed down of, you know, the tricks and, you know, little silly stuff we do to make things faster and better, and so on and so forth. But anyway, that's my thoughts for today. If you got anything to add to it, put it in the comments. You know, we just got to fix it. Thanks so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.